Greetings, ChesCo Gridiron Insiders family and friends. Boy, do we have an exciting Week 1 show planned for you. We have highlights of 9 of our 13 teams in action. Our spotlight interview of the week is with Oxford co-captains Liam Bell and Joel McLean coming off their big Week 0 hard-fought bruising win against Great Valley. Tom Wolf and Mike Milano are back breaking down the Malvern Prep offense and defense as they prepare to battle LaSalle Friday night in Ocean City. That will also be our ChesCo Gridiron Insider Game of the Week. Finally, Week 1 predictions as we're all chasing Nate the Great, who went 8-2 in his predictions last week. So get ready as Pete and I kick off the show. But first, a word from our sponsors at Studio One.
Highlights of this week's games are brought to you by Studio One, the home of ChesCo Gridiron Insiders for our inaugural season. Studio One also houses Sports Vault. Sports Vault is your premium provider of sports-related autographed and non-autographed merchandise. Sports Vault is the leader in licensed sports memorabilia, novelties, trading cards, and custom framing. Sports Vault is located at 520 East Lancaster Avenue in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. We are always looking to add sponsorship and join our family here at ChesCo Gridiron Insiders. This week, we are adding a Player of the Week segment, and pretty soon we may add an Upset of the Week that you can sponsor. Just send an email to and we can set you up with the sponsorship package of your choice.
Okay, we're excited to bring you the highlight portion of our ChesCo Gridiron Insider show. For Week 0, we travel up to Bethlehem Freedom, where District 1 6A champion Downingtown West takes on Freedom. The Whippets got off to a little bit of a slow start here, and Freedom strikes first with a 45-yard sprint draw for TD right here.
Nice looking play. The guard wrapped, and he's off to the races.
Early 7-0 lead for Freedom. But the Whippets answer with an 18-play, 85-yard drive to tie the game. 18 plays a long drive.
Yeah, very impressive. They're starting out at their own 11.
Yeah.
You're going to see some really nice pass plays here.
Yeah, the drive featured all of their offensive skill players. Here's an out ball to J.D. Weller from Cole Bricker. Then we get a Y stick route to T.J. Sinkus. Bricker was pretty sharp for early in the season.
Yep.
There's Sinkus with the catch. And we're going to go to another dig route here to J.D. Weller, his favorite receiver again. See it coming up here. Nice throw. Later in the drive, you're going to see Bricker execute a really nice quarterback draw.
You're going to get jet motion here?
Yeah.
But you don't want to typically see them run a draw like that. You know, that's a new little wrinkle in for West.
Yeah.
So that's
they got a lot of
nice
wrinkles,
play.
don't they?
Yeah.
You're going to see a nice slant route here to Brendan Good Kimball, who's one of the most impressive players in the area coming into the season.
Just feel like they added another weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, he saw time last year, and he's really going to see time this year. He's going to be quite a handful for opposing defenses. That sets the ball down deep in Freedom territory. And all these plays set up the touchdown, which is a quarterback sneak by Bricker to tie the game 7-7. And the drive completely changed the tone of the football game. There's Bricker going in to tie the game.
Yep, beginning of the second quarter.
Okay, we got 2 field goals by Mason Sharp, the Whippet kicker. The second is the half ended here, gave the Whippets a 6-point halftime lead. He's another weapon for West.
39-yarder.
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck they're complaining about.
Change personnel there. Sharp with the 39-yarder, and it's 6-point halftime lead.
He drills it.
Second half featured some suffocating defense from Whippet linebackers Max Wolfington and Brian Carter. You see coming up here, they're both, really good hitters. Carter all league last year.
Nice little counter, but that's a staple for Freedom, and Downingtown West shuts it right down.
Yeah. Freedom's back on their heels right now, and you're going to see their quarterback goes back and this was, to me anyway, the turning point of the game as he throws an ill-advised pass, and it was a pick six here by good Kimball.
Johnny on the spot. We feel like we saw him do that in the scrimmage, right? Only this time he doesn't land on his butt. He takes it to the house.
Yeah, and the route was on after this. West really rolling on the road, and
final nail in the coffin here.
Yeah, this closes it out. Amari Cannon, another West, whip it. Skilled player that's really got a lot of ability. He goes 45 yards to ice the game.
I'm not going to take anything away from West because they're a very good, sound team. But if you go back and look at that, Pete, there's not even close to being an edge set. Like you're running jet sweep, they blitz, and there's nobody that can set an edge.
Right.
So really unsound by Freedom. Hopefully they get that cleaned up for their own sake. But Downingtown West rolls 47-7.
And now we're going to head to Oxford, where Great Valley travels to the Hornets. And this is the opening Great Valley Patriot drive. And they're going to give the ball to running back, number 21, Bo Kosmowski. And he does most of the heavy lifting here. He's a speedy little guy with a 35-yard zone run inside Hornet territory.
Nice cutback.
Yeah. It's funny to see the Hornets still playing on the grass field. 5 plays later in the drive, Kosmowski powers in from the 2, and the Patriots are on the board with a 7-0 lead. Yeah. On Oxford's first possession of the 2025 season, Joel McLean takes this split zone handoff right here and goes 30 yards into Patriot territory.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of this year, Pete. I mean, I'm expecting a big year from McLean. I mean, he's virtually untouched until he gets down he runs himself out of bounds.
About the 37-yard line.
Yeah, look for McLean to have a huge year.
However, Great Valley stops Oxford on downs and takes over at their own 25. And after a holding penalty on first down, Great Valley quarterback Andrew Stanley goes up top, and wide receiver Ty Callahan outjumps safety Joel McLean and then races to the 5-yard line. Callahan's a nice player.
Yeah, that's a great catch. I mean, especially he's got McLean on him as well.
Yeah, and on the next play, that man Kosmowski takes a handoff and outraces the Oxford defense to the goal line. Great Valley up 14-0 in the first.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to roll, Pete.
Yeah, but not so fast, because on the ensuing kickoff, number 2, Jalen McLean. We'll get that coming up here.
Yeah, I missed it. Jalen McLean, he returned the opening kickoff. He took it to the house.
98 yards.
Yeah. And by the way, we'll have McLean on as our featured spotlight guest of the week, along with fellow co-captain.
Oxford rolling here.
Yeah, looked like he threw a nice little bomb, and he hit number 18.
Brady.
Yeah, for that on that pass play. Okay, and then McLean just kind of rumbles in there.
And we got a ball game here. On the next play, McLean takes it to the house. The Pater ties it up on the point after. Great Valley's Luke Helmley sells out and blocks the kick to keep the Patriots in front, 14-13. Helmley's an all-purpose guy for Great Valley. Great block. Both teams had field position back and forth in the second half. And in the fourth quarter, Oxford eats up 10 minutes, and kicker Clark McPeak, as you're going to see coming up here, drills the 28-yard field goal to put Oxford on top 16-14. The Patriots try to battle back, and they convert some passes and move to the Oxford 33-yard line. But on 4th and 10, Oxford cornerback Jalen McLean blitzes off the edge, forcing Stanley to throw a pass short, and Oxford gets revenge from last year's opening game loss to Great Valley, and the Hornets win 16-14.
Yeah, a great opening game, Pete. That's really something. And McLean made a kind of on-field call. He got a formation he liked. They blitzed off the backside and made really the saving play of the game defensively.
Okay, now we hit the J. Oscar Dick Stadium for the Westchester Henderson Warriors hosted Plymouth Whitemarsh in another Chesmont Suburban 1 non-league tilt. Exciting high-scoring affair. Here early on Henderson's first offensive possession, you're going to see Matt Wagner. He started the fireworks here, sprinting 48 yards on the opening possession of the season to set up the Henderson touchdown. Wide, that just broke wide open. PW with some defensive breakdowns all night, EJ.
Yeah, it looked like Henderson's running game from last year, right?
Yeah, with Brady Collins. On this clip, we're going to see Henderson's defense gets into scoring as defensive tackle Faison Ahmed forces the PW fumble deep in their own territory. Fellow defensive lineman Marco Pilati falls on the ball right in the back of the end zone, right before the end line to make the score 14-0 Henderson, which is a little shocking because I thought PW would win this game.
Yeah, I did too, obviously, but I mean Henderson just, kudos to them, hats off to them. Bob Rice, the coaching staff, did a phenomenal job. Dan Ellis putting 40 points on the board.
Yeah.
Great to see Henderson start off 1-0.
Yeah, here we're going to see the Henderson quarterback Jackson Cherub throw the first of his 4 touchdown passes of the night, here connecting with Chase Kearney for a 5-yard score to make it 21-7 Warriors. Kearney's one of the better receivers in the area.
It looks like it.
And the score was tied at this point, 21-21, as PW came back, and we're early in the third quarter. The Warrior defense forces another turnover as linebacker Brady Scott makes a really nice play here on the left sideline, steps in front of this PW pass and returns it to the PW 46-yard line. Nice,
great play.
Great play by Scott.
Get some blocking here right down the sideline. Nice job, and they're in business.
And Cherub does what all good quarterbacks do. He converts the turnover into points. You're going to see right here, he hits another one of those Henderson receivers, Jackson Lewis, on a short hitch route, and Lewis does the rest, avoiding 2 defenders and sprinting in for the TD to give Henderson a 27-21 lead.
2 nice moves, making guys miss all the way down the sidelines. Henderson sideline erupts.
Yeah. I mean, they were pumped, and with good reason. And Cherub continues to show out, connecting with Jackson Lewis again for an 18-yard TD to extend their lead to 34-21.
If you're counting at home, this is number 3.
Really nice throw here. Lewis goes up and gets it. And it looked like Henderson was going to roll here, EJ, but PW comes back and takes a 35-34 lead, and we only have 4:37 left in the fourth period. Watch this play break wide open as Cherub completes his spectacular night by finding a wide open Kearney behind the PW secondary for the game-winning touchdown.
Little play-action boot.
Yeah, a little broken coverage there.
Great throw, yep.
And Henderson wins 40-35.
Great job getting off on a 1-0. Right
there. Big win there.
Huge win.
Okay, the Red Devils of Avongrove now. They travel to Lancaster County to take on Warwick in their season opener.
Tough trip, and it didn't get much better after that.
Yeah, even though they lost 35-12, the defense for Avongrove provided us with the highlights. Here in the second quarter, linebacker Dylan Laganella knifes into the line of scrimmage here, making the tackle and stripping the Warwick ball carrier for an Avongrove turnover.
Normally when you get, I think they got not 1, not 2, but 3 turnovers forced, you usually come out on the right side of that. But unfortunately, I think Avongrove had 2 punts blocked and some offensive turnovers themselves.
Yeah, here's a leaping interception from Alexander Binstead later in that same quarter.
Expecting big things from Binstead this year, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah. And after halftime, we're going to see the Red Devils get on the scoreboard for the first time this season as defensive lineman Grayson Pittman is in the right place at the right time. He comes up with a tip pass, interception, and rumbling for a big man touchdown. So they had some defensive highlights here.
Yeah. Look at this guy rumble. It's great to see defenders.
Great to see that. It's great.
Defender linemen do that.
Final score, Warwick 35, the Red Devils 12.
There you go. Hopefully the Red Devils can get back on track next week. And they take on Penwood.
Yeah, who defeated Norristown 40-30.
Like 3 overtimes, I think it was, right?
And now we go to Cotmire Stadium for a big-time battle between the Knights of North Penn and the Downingtown East Cougars. North Penn opening drive, that potent offense, senior linebacker Caleb Akins for the Cougars comes up with a big sack of the North Penn quarterback, Cole Buxer. Aiken's a nice player.
Yeah, I expect Downingtown East is going to get their fair share of sacks this year. And there's number one to start off the year.
Yeah. Now we're here later in the first quarter. You're going to see North Penn converts a 4th and 4 here, but the Cougar defense forces the fumble, which is recovered by linebacker Logan Litwinko. So they convert, fumble, football. Cougars fired up there. Now for some offensive highlights. Sophomore running back Jules Robinson had a huge game for East, rushing for 224 yards and scoring 2 touchdowns. Here he rips off a big 58-yard run to set up the first touchdown of the Cougar season. Saw some time last year, EJ, but he looks like the main guy this year.
Yeah, Rios, I don't think he'll also have a really nice year. Just didn't get off to the start he wanted against North Penn. But Robinson, collected, as you said, 242 yards.
Yeah, down 21-7 here. Downingtown East had fumbled the second half kickoff, and on 4th and 2, Riley Gray pounds into the end zone for North Penn. You can't fumble a kickoff and beat a team like North Penn.
Well, not to start the half. 21-7, you're coming out. You expect your team's going to go ahead and score, make it 21-14. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for the Cougars.
Yeah.
And that really was the turning point of the game, Pete.
Yeah.
Down 28-7, you kind of have to scrap your game plan and start throwing the football.
Yeah, now the Cougars are down 28-7 in the second half and needing a spark here. Senior defensive back and kick returner Luther Siwa sets up the East offense deep in North Penn territory with a 50-yard return.
Just gets through there, nice break tackle.
Thought he was going to go, but
he should have. He couldn't make the kicker miss, unfortunately.
Okay, we're going to see Jules Robinson again. Scores the first of his 2 TDs with this 18-yard run to cut the North Penn lead to 28-14 in the third quarter. Hits the hole, nice cut, beautiful cutback.
Big year.
Now we're going to see junior quarterback Ethan Ellis for the Cougars. He making his first varsity start. There's a nice corner route to fellow junior tight end Abraham Cisse, who shows off some of his basketball skills with this nice catch. Really nice catch by Cisse here. Goes up and gets it. It wasn't enough for the Cougars, however, who fall to North Penn 42-21 in week 0.
Now, Downingtown East will travel to Northeast over the weekend, right?
Yeah, up there on the Northeast Super Site.
So hopefully that'll, they'll even their record at 1-1.
Now we head to Coatesville, and Garnet Valley, as Coatesville moves the ball at will in the opening drive down the field, courtesy of a couple of Matt Ortega Jr. throws. First and goal from the 5, sophomore Say Bradshaw walks in untouched behind the devastating double seam of Max Heller and Van Orden. Nice little tackle overset in the boundary by Coatesville.
Watch these guys just demolish the Garnet Valley front line. Also, Green doesn't know. There's pancakes to be had all over this. Yeah. Watch this circle.
Yeah, they just that's almost comical.
Pete, you could have ran that in.
Yeah, I think I could have at this age too. On Garnet Valley's first possession, they march right down the field all the way to the Coatesville 1. Penalties stall the drive, and they settle for this. You're going to see a 24-yard field goal. After Coatesville 3 and out, Garnet Valley moves the ball in the Red Raider territory, but a drop snap and a punishing hit by that man again, Max Heller, resulted in a Garnet Valley punt. All kinds of craziness on a botched punt ensued. Coatesville picks up 45 yards in penalties, and Garnet is again deep in Red Raider territory.
Yeah, I don't know what happened on that botched punt. I commented on Twitter, probably one of the worst calls that I've seen, and there were 2 or 3 of them this weekend. The refs for the most part did a nice job, but you can't make a call like that.
Okay, we're going to see here on a 4th and 2, Elijah Hansen blitzes and Max Heller blows up the guard into the quarterback, and Garnet Valley is once again turned away inside the red zone. They moved the ball, but Coatesville stayed strong deep. On the next Coatesville possession, Ortega Jr. hits Quan James on a 37-yard go route, and the Red Raiders are up 14-3.
Can't get more wide open than that, Pete.
Yeah. Garnet Valley comes back as a 2nd and 5, and Josh Van Orden just dissects this quick toss and blows it up for a loss.
Great play.
Yeah. Van Orden's a nice player.
Yeah, really a 3-year starter.
Yeah. On Garnet Valley's next possession, the fullback is hit by multiple Coatesville defenders. And Great Valley's next possession is hit, he's hit by multiple defenders, and Van Orden is Johnny on the spot. Red Raider ball at the Jaguar 31. Next offensive play, Ortega rolls to his left and finds Lawrence Beckett, who steps out at the 2-yard line. Coatesville will cash in on this broken play. Ortega hits Terry Wiggins, and the route is on as Coatesville wins 35-10. Very impressive for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, definitely very impressive. I know they, none of us, I think, expected for them to really. I mean, they almost mercy ruled Garnet Valley.
Yeah, that doesn't happen too often.
Palmyra, I think, travels up to the Ville this week.
Smyrna.
Smyrna,
From
my
Delaware,
fault, right?
yeah.
The Delaware team. Looking forward to that game.
Our game of the week features Unionville versus Westchester Ruston. This one certainly lived up to its billing. Ruston, executing their old school wing T plays, marches 77 yards in 14 plays, culminating on this 3-yard Khalif Cunningham TD run to put Ruston up 7-0 in the first quarter with 3:23 left.
Yeah, Pete, how many defensive tackles or backup running backs for their football team, right?
Yeah, Mike St. Clair likes that pound away football.
Khalif was dominant on the defensive side of the ball.
Here you're going to see Ruston defense forces a 3-and-out on Unionville's first drive. And on the 4th play from scrimmage, Golden Knight quarterback Max Blaine boots out, can't find an open receiver, so he reverses his field and finds the end zone to put Ruston up 13-0 in the second period.
Yeah, nifty little run there, Pete.
The ensuing PAT was blocked by the Longhorns, and the score remained 13-0 Ruston going into the half. Unionville took the second half kickoff, though, and they marched down the field as you saw a different Unionville team in the second half. The drive stalls on 4th down when number 59, Timmy Hugna, comes up with a huge drive-stopping sack.
A great play there.
Yeah. However, on Ruston's ensuing drive, cornerback Jack Law sticks Jimmy Bolin and causes him to lose the ball. Feel like the tide is turning a little there.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, if Ruston, can take that in and go up 20-0, it's really going to be tough.
Yeah.
But instead, it's 13-0. We're 4:58 in the third.
Yeah, and on the first play, after the change of possession, quarterback for Unionville, Tommy McGinnis, alludes to Ruston rush and finds a wide open Hayden Leventine for 46 yards.
He just ran right down the seam past the defense. Great throw. Great job of stepping up. And Unionville's in business.
7 plays later, Brody McLaughlin plows in from the 1, and Unionville trails 13-6 with 58 seconds to go in the third period. Okay, after the Longhorns force a 3-and-out, Unionville marches down the field on a 12-play drive culminated by an 11-yard quarterback McGinnis run. McLaughlin plunges in from the 3, and with 5:37 left, Unionville has their first lead, 14-13.
Yeah, they converted. They went for 2 and got it.
Yeah, and after both teams had possessions, Ruston takes over at its own 31.
I think this is it here. I think this is the 2-point
This is the 2-point conversion right here to give Unionville.
Nice play, cross block. He gets right up in there.
Yeah.
And they take the lead. Okay, and at this point in time, Ruston was dominating the game the whole first half. And then now it's 14-13 with 5:37 to go. And
yeah, after a couple of possessions, Ruston takes over at its own 31. And big play here, Jimmy Bolin plants his foot in the ground and takes a lead buck sweep, 69 yards to the house. And Ruston takes back the lead, 19-14. Here's another Ruston running back to look out for, Jimmy Bolin. Here's the last drive of the game.
Unionville wasn't finished, however.
Yeah,
Pete.
they weren't. On the last drive of the game, on a 2nd and 7, McGinnis hits Leventine for 32, and the Longhorns are in the red zone.
Seems like Leventine's turning out to be his favorite receiver.
Looks
again.
it, yeah. Okay, after a delay game penalty hurt Unionville, there was only 4 seconds left. McGinnis is pressured by Cunningham again and throws a desperation pass that goes out of bounds at the 4-yard line. You see it coming up here. He's pressured by Cunningham and just has to get rid of the football. Ruston prevails, but what a way to start the season, EJ.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game. I'm glad we really picked it for our game of the week. It was great to be there. Both teams, look, I really think both teams are going to be very successful this year.
Yeah, both playoff teams and maybe deep runs. But
absolutely.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed those highlights from last week's 0 games. We're here with a couple of really special players from Oxford High School, Leon Bell and Joel McClain, co-captains of the squad. They came off a 16-14 win over Great Valley on a last-minute field goal, and the Hornets are looking up this year. Let me ask you guys a question. First of all, how are you feeling, Leon? I got fagged up a little the other night.
Yeah, I got rolled up on, but we're feeling better, and I'm going to be ready to go for Friday.
Okay, how about you, Joel?
I'm feeling great. I had some issues with, hydration last week, and just, just hydration, so I should be good for Friday.
Tom Wolf for Chester County Gridiron Insiders. We're here taking a look at the Malvern Prep defense in our Game of the Week segment. Malvern Prep in this clip is going against St. John's College High School out of Washington, D.C. in a scrimmage from a couple weeks ago. In this scrimmage, Malvern ran a base 4-3, cover 3 defense the whole scrimmage. And when you see some of these front 4, front 6 players, you'll understand why. The thing that really jumped out to me on the screen was the play of Malvern's defensive ends. We're going to highlight number 41 first. Number 41 is senior Dylan Novak. And we're going to watch this clip, just a basic bull rush. Novak does a real nice job getting into the offensive tackle, trying to block him here. And you can see right into the quarterback's lap, forcing the quarterback to scramble out and forcing an incompletion. So again, real nice play by Novak here, getting in there, scramble, and the incompletion. This next clip, goal line situation, we're going to focus on another defensive end. Up top here, we have senior number 8, Jackson 4. Goal line situation, Malvern stays in their 4-man front. Jackson's got a tight end over him, and it's just a simple dive play. And Jackson does a real good job here of standing this tight end up, using his hands so he can see the play. Zone. He sees the play, sees the ball carrier, and then he can get into the hole, all while this tight end is holding him. And he ends up making the tackle with the tight end holding him for a loss. So again, watch this from the start. And it's just a real good job of Jackson. Good effort, good strength, tackle for loss in the goal line. On his next play, we'll take a look at another of these defensive ends. We have another short yardage situation, 3rd and 1, and we're going to look at number 4 here. Sophomore defensive end George Parkinson. The whole defensive line on this 3rd and short is going to slant to the field, and you'll see Parkinson's is going to ride his offensive tackle down, and this lets number 24, outside linebacker, Daniel Riley. It allows him to shuffle down, and we'll watch this play. He shuffles down. He maintains good outside leverage. Again, good job by the sophomore Parkinson, bringing that whole offensive line down. Here comes number 24, Riley. Shuffles down, maintains outside leverage, forces a cutback, and makes a real nice open field tackle for loss on the 3rd and short. Good play all around by the Malvern Prep defense. All right, on play 82. Again, we're going to look at Ford here. Again, he uses his strength, bull rush, gets outside, gets into the quarterback's face. The quarterback's got to check the ball into the flat, and you'll see number 1, outside linebacker Max Mooring, does a real nice job coming up on the pursuit and making the play for a good open field tackle. So there's Ford with the speed, with the power, and then the speed, forcing the check down. And here comes Mooring. Good open field tackle, short gain on first down. Finally, on this last play, great recognition. We're going to give some of these big guys in the middle here some recognition. 54 defensive tackle, Brian Johnson, and 74 defensive tackle, Naeem Hammond. So St. John's is trying to run a screen here. Number 54, Johnson sniffs it out. He sees that the offensive lineman is leaving to get out on the screen, so he retraces, finds the ball carrier, and then you'll see his fellow defensive tackle, number 74, Hammond. He rushes the passer, and once he sees the ball away, he doesn't give up on the play. He retraces. Johnson forces the ball carrier right into Hammond for a big-time hit. Good job by both those defensive tackles. So when you watch Malvern this week, you're going to see a lot of good defensive line and outside linebacker play.
Hey, this week in our analysis segment, we're going to take a look at Malvern Prep's offense. And the film we'll see is them versus St. John's College High School down in D.C. this past week. We'll start out with some run game stuff. Here we see them running one back buck sweep. One back. And we know Buck, we talked about it last week. We're going to get down blocks on the play side. We're going to get the front side guard to pull, the back side guard to pull. Running back's going to cross mesh and try and cut square 90 degrees. You can see up top, the front side guard pulls, does a good job. There's good contact. What I don't like is he's square right here, makes it tough for the backside guard to decide whether to wrap it or to insert it. He inserts it, and so does the running back. And this is a really great run by a really good running back. Running back's going to cut it square, finds daylight, cuts it back, and makes a great 12-yard run. Again, buck sweep. We took a look at that last week with Rustin. Complimentary play to Buck, right? So last week, Rustin complimented Buck sweep with boot or waggle. Here's a look at Malvern Prep running another wing T staple counter crisscross. And what you're going to see is the running back's going to cross mesh as he did on sweep. He's going to get it, and then he's going to give it to the wing back crossing. We're still getting two pullers. Now it's the backside guard looking to trap, and the tight end becomes the second puller here. We get a great-looking counter play coming back, counter crisscross. Running back gets the ball, hands it to the wing coming underneath. The backside guard here does a really nice job. He's looking to trap this guy so the ball can insert here. The end squeezes, so he logs it. The tight end does a great job recognizing it, and the ball now hits the edge. And that's a great-looking play in the red zone going in. Really, it's a great play anywhere. Counter crisscross. Now they're in the red zone, right? Red zone staples, just straight-up I-back power. We're going to get a build-a-wall look. Going to get these guys to build a wall down here, right? 3 down blocks, tight end, tackle, guard, center blocks away. Backside guard skip pulls. The fullback kicks out. When this play's done correctly, the running back's going to hit this nice and tight and not bounce it outside. He's going to hit it inside the backside guard who's skip pulling. And you can see he does that right here. Hits it nice and skinny. And that's a great-looking red zone play. Takes the ball to the end zone. So they're not just a buck sweep, crisscross power team. They can throw the ball. They got a really good quarterback and a kid that can go get it. I call this Florida, just fade flat both sides. Fades by the outside guys. Flat routes or outs by the inside guys. Quarterback's going to get this thing 3-step drop and let it fly. Now early on, looks like the receiver's not running, but he's a big dude. He outruns the corner. Ball gets launched. And that's a touchdown from a long way out. Doesn't matter where they are. Hey, same look, 2x2, red zone going in. Florida fade flat. Little stutter by the wideout. Little stutter move at about 5 yards. Quarterback launches, and he makes a great high point catch in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. So Malvern can get it done a lot of ways.
Rocky, Rocky, Rocky. Red 83. Rocky, Rocky, Rocky.
Thanks, Tom and Mike, for another outstanding breakdown of Malvern Prep. Really looking forward to that game of the week, Malvern LaSalle, the Battle of the Shore. All right, now in our prediction segment, let's take a look at the games of the week. We'll start off with Bishop Shanahan versus School of Future. So I'll start first. This is a tough one for me to pick, and the only reason I say that is I really haven't seen any Shanahan video yet because we haven't gotten any. But I guess in saying that, I'll take Shanahan.
I'll go with Shanahan. Shanahan's my preseason favorite to defend their Northern Division title. I would like to see him on film, though.
Yeah. All right, so we'll all take Shanahan. What's Coach Milano? Is he taking Shanahan or is he? Yeah, I didn't know he was a School of the Future guy or not. All right. Sun Valley, Great Valley. We all thought Great Valley played very well last week in their last second kind of loss to Oxford. So we're all going to take Great Valley over Sun Valley.
Coach Milano concurs.
Coach Milano also concurs. That's good. Elizabethtown at Kennett. Elizabethtown played very well last week, but we all think that Kennett is, since they're at home, they're going to be able to outlast.
Yeah, Coach Milano has Kennett also.
And by the way, it's good to stick with Coach Milano. Coach Milano went 7-3 last week, which normally would have put him in the lead. But the great Nate, he stepped up big after a poor performance last year and making guest segments to our show. Nate went 8-2, and the rest of us are one of our guys went 5-5, and then Pete and myself went 6-4, which wasn't very good either. So we'll let the 5-5 guy go nameless. All right. Unionville at Academy Park. Academy Park played Westchester East extremely tough. They didn't make the mistakes that we thought they make, like they normally make. 21-20 Westchester East win. But in saying that, Unionville played really, really well against Ruston. So we all decided to take Unionville. And
Coach Milano also.
Thank goodness Coach Milano agrees. All right. Henderson at Hatboro Horsham. Henderson, surprising win last week, or at least that's what we thought, as we all took the other side of that game. And Henderson, outstanding job. 4 touchdown passes from quarterback.
Jackson Cherub,
10
for 15, 222, 4 touchdowns. He looked great.
So Dan Ellis doing a great job down there with the quarterbacks as usual. All right, and we're all taking Henderson in that one. And
Coach Milano with Henderson.
There you go. All right. Ruston at Interboro.
Ruston all the way.
And
Ruston.
Coach Milano with Ruston.
There you go. All right. All right. Let's get into our interesting games. We got Oxford at North Lebanon. Oxford playing an extremely tough, rugged game last week at Great Valley. And, man, it was so rugged, I think 3 of the Oxford players had different kind of ailments. Nothing that we know to be extremely serious, but, had to deal with some cramps, had to do with some, leg injuries and this and that. So some of the guys we're unsure about. I'm going to still stick with Oxford, even though it's a tough trip. Nate, what do you got?
Yeah, I think a tough trip and just not knowing the full health of the team. A little bit surprised how close it was against Great Valley last week. Kudos to Great Valley for putting up a good fight, but I think it's a long trip and it was a close game last year. So I think I'm gonna side with Northern Lebanon on this one.
Coach Wolf.
Same exact reason. Northern Lebanon is that's a 2-hour bus ride if you're lucky, and not sure who's going to be playing for Oxford based on the injuries they suffered last week.
I like Oxford in this one. I know Northern Lebanon is very physical, a long bus ride. I think Means has something going down at Oxford, and Coach Milano has Oxford also.
Yeah. All right, let's go to another tough one. We got Penwood at Avongrove. Not exactly what we were looking forward to going into the season with Avongrove. They really had a tough trip to Warwick. It just didn't seem like anything went right for them early. So in saying that, Pete, what do you got?
Now, this is a tough one. I mean, Penwood put up 40 points against an awful Norristown team,
Triple overtime.
triple overtime. I'm going to go with Avongrove and just they got to get a win here because if you look at their schedule, there may not be that many more. So I like Avongrove to win this one.
Coach Milano has?
He has Avongrove also.
I got you. Let's see. Coach Wolf?
I watched that whole film, that Avongrove Warwick film, and Warwick overwhelmed them. I mean, it was 28-0 at half, 35-0 Mercy Rule before Avongrove even got on the board, and that was a defensive touchdown against Warwick's second team. I think Avongrove continues to struggle, so I like Penwood in this one.
All right. Nate?
Yeah, I mean, I think a tough result last week. Just tough to trust Avongrove at this point. Hopefully they can get things rolling. Because this is a game that they should win. But I think I'm going to go with Penwood just after what I saw week one.
I mean, it pains me to even think that this has to be a discussion, right? I mean, Coach Coffey, I spoke with him, that looking to clean things up. I'm with Pete. Like, if they can't beat Penwood here, there might not be a lot more opportunities to win games. So I will go with Coach Coffey and the Red Devils here.
Yeah. Coach Milano is Avongrove also.
All right. Smyrna at Coatesville. All right. Now, if I had I've never had crow before, but apparently I'm sure a lot of Coatesville people wanted to send it to me and have me eat it over the weekend. And I agree. Like, Coatesville absolutely took it to Garnet Valley. Clearly way better than Garnet Valley. Like I told you, Coach Ortega told me that the skill was probably his best skill since 17 and 18 and 19. I don't know still if that's specifically true, but their skill was very good. And his son, Matt Ortega Jr., had a great day. He threw for, was it 3 touchdowns?
3 touchdowns, 15 to 16 passing.
So what do we got, Coach Milano?
Coatesville. And I like Coatesville here.
Yeah,
I think they go undefeated until they play West.
Yeah, Coach Milano's a big Coatesville fan, so I knew he would take him. Coach Wolf?
I tell you what, if Matt Ortega Jr. has a clean pocket and time to throw and the weapons that he has, that's what happened last week. I think it's going to happen again. We saw Smyrna last year against Downingtown West, and they didn't really impress me last year. I'm not sure what they have back, but Coatesville really impressed me last week. I'm going with Coatesville.
Nate?
Yeah, I think just seeing Coatesville live, I know they definitely watched the program last week. A lot of EJ Moyer taunting going on the sidelines for sure. But definitely an impressive debut by Coatesville last week. I think it would be a shame to kind of waste that this week against Smyrna. I think they did a lot of good things last week. Need to see them run the ball a little bit more. They only ran 31 plays last week, which was obviously very efficient, putting points on the board. But Sage Bradshaw, the new I think he's a sophomore running back, definitely showed some wiggle. So excited to see how they develop the running game. But I think they keep things rolling and get the 2-0.
All right, so we're taking Coatesville. That's what everybody's got. All right, they have to win this week because if they don't win, I don't think anybody will ever let me pick them again. I'm taking the Bill. All right. Upper Moreland at Westchester East. I remember this game last year when Westchester East went to Upper Moreland. It was a tough game, but they just couldn't get any stops. So hopefully Coach Mitten can, switch things around a little bit here. Let's see. And we started with you lately, Wolfie. Why don't we go?
I'll tell you what. We talked about it before the show. I'm going to change my mind. I like what Westchester East did. Come from behind win last week. Tough place to play. 2:00 afternoon game against Academy Park. And you just mentioned Coach Mitten. I have a lot of respect for Coach Mitten as a coach, and I think I like what Westchester East is doing. I'm going to take the Vikings.
Great. I have to erase that. All right. Nate?
Yeah, I going down there last week and watching them in person, even talking about Coach Mitten, kind of reminded me of 2012 when Henderson went down to Chester and beat them down there in Chester in a day game. And they're not the same kind of team, but I don't think Westchester East played a great game against Academy Park. But I think the most impressive part was that they didn't quit and they pulled it together. I think it was a gritty win. I think you watch the film and you're like, oh, it was rough. I'm sure it was a rough watch for some of those guys, but I'm sure they loved the fact that they didn't quit and they pulled it out in the end. I think that goes a long way for a high school football team. I think they're going to ride that momentum and get to 2-0.
Pete?
I like Upper Moreland in this spot. They won 8 games last year, went to the playoffs. They returned 6 people on offense, 4 on defense. I love Dean Owens and Steve Mitten as coaches, but Al Keefe probably won't play for the Vikings. I see Upper Moreland beating them. Coach Milano has Westchester East also.
Yeah, this was a tough one. I also with Nate attended the game last week. It was a great game. Wanted to put it on, the highlights of the week. We weren't, for whatever reason, we weren't able to do that. We didn't get the video, and then I hadn't gotten to talk to any of the coaches about Upper Moreland. So in saying that, it's, it was tough to come down to, but because of the respect I have for Coach Mitten and Coach Owens, somehow, it's going to be a Thursday night game too, as all Westchester games are Thursday night this week. So it's a quick turnaround. I will take Westchester East. I'm going to take the Vikings as well. All right, Downingtown East at Northeast High School in Philadelphia. All right, so this is This is a night game, but as Coach Wolf said, he expects the buses will pull out at Downingtown probably 8, 9 a.m. in the morning.
Probably have breakfast and lunch, and then Coach Matta likes to be early.
All right, better being early than being late. So yeah. I can see where he's coming from there. We'll go to Coach Milano first. What you got?
He's got D East to win this one.
All right, so he probably called Coach Matta and asked him.
As I do too. They have to bounce back here.
Okay, so 2 Due East. Nate?
Yeah, I'm going to go D East. I don't know if it was a surprising result. I think maybe the score, how many points North Penn put on them last week was a surprising part. Jules Robinson with a huge game running the ball. So I think, D East will be playing cranky on defense and get enough stops and, let that running game cook again.
Tom?
Well, talking to the Downingtown East coaches, and they did not have a nice weekend this weekend. So I think they're going to take it out on the Northeast. So I look.
Yeah, I agree. I think they clean things up, and then I'm going to make a bold prediction. As no one gave me credit, my prediction last week was correct. You know what I'm talking about? Coach Dick Beck burning all 3 timeouts in the first quarter last week. Right? You heard it here first. I think Downingtown East will rush for 400 yards against Northeast, and they will win not as comfortably as we think, but I think they win by 2 scores. All right, so we got Downingtown East. Let's go with Downingtown West going to Salesianum, as they went to Salesianum last year to play Smyrna, to play St. John's, Washington, D.C. Let's go with Nate.
Yeah, tough task for the Whippets. It seems like they're always up for it, though. I mean, you go day back to last year. Some of these tight games, you lean one way or the other. I lean the other way a couple times, and the Whippets proved me wrong. Obviously, they're going up to Allentown this weekend and dominated a decent Freedom team. I think that impressed some of the reporters up there, even. So, I don't know. I don't know a ton about this DC team. I know they have some studs. I know it's going to be a challenge. Always tough going against private schools, but the way D West just finds ways to win, I'm not going to doubt them. I'll go with the Whippets.
Pete,
I like Downingtown West here. I give Coach Klein a lot of credit for playing a private school, because if they want to get to where they want to get, they're going to have to beat a private school in early December. So this is going to give them a little taste of it. St. John's College is loaded, and this will be a great game. But I think Downingtown West, who went up and embarrassed Bethlehem Freedom, I like Downingtown West too.
Tom?
We just broke down that Malvern St. John's film. St. John's has got some great skill guys. They got some big linemen. They look the part, but again, I like what Coach Klein has done with his team and his staff, and I think they out-scheme them. And I look for Downingtown West in a very tight tight game.
Coach Milano also
took-
with the Whippets.
Oh, really? I thought he was going to take St. John's. So I think the Whippets are. I already am on record as saying I think the Whippets are going to make a return trip to the district final. Coach Klein's done an unbelievable job, and I talked to a bunch of people this week that know a little bit about St. John's. I think St. John's is St. Joe's light, and in saying that, we saw kind of what happened last year when Downingtown West unfortunately had to play St. Joe's, even though we all think that that's not exactly fair. I'm going to take St. John's. So, proving that I'm not a homer, if I can pick against Coatesville, I can pick against a team I think is going to make it to the District 1 final. So I'm going to take St. John's this week, even though if the Whippets hopefully come out of this game healthy, they're going to do a lot of great things this year. All right, finally, the game of the week. We have Malvern Prep versus LaSalle, and it's the war at the shore, right? We're going to go to Ocean City this week for our game of the week. LaSalle last week beat Pittsburgh Central Catholic 23-7. Coach Wolf alluded to the fact, as we saw earlier with Coach Wolf and Coach Milano's breakdown. Outstanding, by the way. I mean, I want to start hearing from people telling us how good the breakdowns are by those two coaches. Okay, professional, well done. I'm thinking Monday night, ESPN, Jets, Giants, something like that, later on for these two. But anyway, I'll start off. Man, this is a tough one to pick. I mean, this is Unionville Ruston, maybe on steroids a little bit. This is going to be, it was an unbelievable game last year. Malvern turned it over a couple times early, and it cost them the game. So if Malvern can stay away from turnovers, in speaking to Coach Coach Guerrera, and I totally true with him, believe getting off the field on third down defensively is going to be huge. Okay? And last year, I think that LaSalle got to some areas of the field, middle, of the field, running little curl routes and flats, and that's what Malvern really has to get to and protect. So if they can do that, I'm good. You know what? I'm going to take Malvern. Coach Wolf convinced me, saying that they're, they really do have a lot of really good players. We know LaSalle has some players going to Notre Dame. Joey O'Brien, right? They have an offensive tackle, I think that's like 6'8". Very good player, probably potential down the road, even though I'm sure he's a really, really good high school player. He's probably a 4-star, a 5-star now. Okay, but Malvern, they have 20 kids getting looked at as well. All right, so I look for Malvern to pull it out at the end, but I think it's going to be close. Let's go, what's Coach Milano think?
Coach Milano has LaSalle.
Of course he does.
And I like LaSalle too. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. But LaSalle, that quarterback, Sidwar, he's going to Missouri. He's tough. I don't think Malvern can score enough points to beat LaSalle.
Nate?
Yeah, for as good as Malvern's been on defense the last few years, it's been kind of a weird offense. And not necessarily the bad way. Obviously, Malvern does really, really well against 95% of the teams in Pennsylvania. But, the quarterback situation's been in flux the last few years. Melkonian's back as a returning starter. That's something they haven't had in a while. Zeke Bates, a Minnesota recruit, playing running back. Obviously, they got some big boys up front. I think the offense is finally in a position to be one of the bright spots of the team this year, and not just in the shadows of the defense. I think the offense hits the ground running this season and gets the win against LaSalle. I know those kids are anxious to get revenge after last year.
And Tom?
Watching that breakdown, I love Malvern's front seven defensively. They're going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of teams, and I think they cause LaSalle problems. The old saying, it's hard to throw touchdowns when you're laying on your back. So I think they get enough pressure on this LaSalle quarterback, and they eke out the win. So I'm going Malvern.
There you have it. Okay, so a couple things. ChesCo Gridiron fans and families, don't forget, the Westchester games are on Thursday this week, right? So get out and watch some football. Number 2, after you're done watching our segment last week dropped at 8:30 on a Wednesday night. Look for the same thing this week, okay? Make sure you follow us. Make sure you give us some likes. And enjoy the games this weekend, more importantly. We'll see you next week. Signing off.